What's going on, guys? It's Kellen here with my boy Danny with We Think We Know Football. We're going to go ahead and break some stuff down. Big weekend we just had. I got another one coming right up. We're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks, quarterback powerhouses that we've been seeing, especially this last weekend. Talk a little bit about the rules. Haven't been too stoked about the rules. But, just to kind of kick it off, we got, Danny, I want to talk a little bit about these quarterbacks that, we have in the playoffs right now. I'm going to drop some stats. So we got Jared Goff, Patty Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Matt Stafford. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, as much as I love to talk about him, reached the AFC Championship every year he started. Josh Allen, most rushing yards by a quarterback in postseason history. And Jaden Daniels, he's been a star. Jalen Hurts, powerhouse. Lamar Jackson. Who do you have as a powerhouse as far as playoffs go in your quarterback position?
I really think that there's obviously if there is a powerhouse, Patrick Mahomes is the number one, but he's been sitting on the bench for 3.5 weeks. I am so interested in this Ravens and Bills game. The MVPs going against each other, and how many other, if I had to pick two besides Patrick Mahomes, it'd be both of the quarterbacks in this game. So that's very crazy to see that, one of them is going to knock one of them out. And then we're gonna see what happens with the rest. It's kind of crazy. I like
Right.
Matthew Stafford. I like Jaden Daniels. I like Jared Goff. But the Ravens Bills game is really the most interesting to me because there's like I said, the two MVP front runners going against each other. One of them is going to knock the other one out. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. No, you know what? And I agree with you. Unfortunately, I think Matt Stafford is obviously going to be at the bottom of the list. I'm always intrigued, with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's my boy. Looking at some next gen stats, he had a 15.6% chance of completing that end zone pass that he did on 4th down against the Broncos. I know it breaks your heart to hear that, but
I know which one. I know which pass you're talking
I
about. The one
know
where
it.
he scrambled, and oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
that should
I
have.
thought
I
it was
have,
incomplete.
yeah.
I did. It looked like he scooped it right off the ground. I didn't get excited at first, but then looking back at it, I'm like, there's no way. I thought that he had initially ran out of bounds, could have gotten illegal touching or something like that, but 15.6 next gen stats have
Those
calculated.
are really the plays that made the difference in that game. He incompletes that. Broncos are still in the game, but then this is Josh Allen. He gets it.
Right. No, and I mean, I'll tell you what, he's been working his legs. Like I said, most rushing yards by a quarterback in postseason history. And I mean, that's overall. So he's going up against Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, he's got wheels himself. So, I mean, you can't help but think when you got a run game like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, it's almost going to be, you're going to be watching these two powerhouse quarterbacks that, I would give the edge to Josh Allen, not just because of his run game, but also because of his air game. Lamar Jackson can sling it. I'll give him that. However, I feel like Josh Allen does excel more in that playing field. What do you think about that?
I think that I just saw a stat yesterday that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are number one and number two all time in rush yards in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I read that right. Young is up there, and there's a couple others, but I'm pretty sure I read that right. Ravens Bills -1.5. It's basically a pick'em game. 51.5 over under. 6:30, I believe it said Saturday. Man, this is my favorite game of the weekend.
Who do you have winning?
If anything, I have to go with what I have picked since the beginning of the year: Lions, Bills, Super Bowl. I got to go with the Bills.
Got to go with the Bills. I would take the Bills on this. I think I want to say it's going to be close. I want to say it's going to be a good game. Then again, these last few games I've said, oh yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a banger. And they've been blowouts. And then I've said, Oh yeah, Washington versus the Buccaneers. That's going to be a snooze fest. I can't wait to sleep through that one. And look at that. That was an absolute banger.
Nobody's perfect, man. Nobody's
Nobody is
perfect.
perfect, but I'll tell you what. Speaking of Washington, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jaden Daniels. Um, First rookie quarterback to win a playoff game since 2012. Russell Wilson. Washington hasn't won a playoff game since 2005. Um, so he's another crazy stat that I read, and this is going to blow your mind because it blew my mind. So as far as career games with a team recording 0 punts and 0 turnovers, meaning, you know, his team has 0 punts and 0 turnovers for the entire game. Um, he's had three total in his 18 starts. Right now, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Montana. How many do you think they have combined for?
I'm not sure, but all I can tell you is that the fact that he's in the list with those names it already blows my mind.
So they've only combined for two. So that's 990 starts combined against 18 starts. So Daniels has only started 18 times, and of those 18 times, his team has only had to punt, or his team has had to not punt and not turn the ball over 3 times. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Montana, that's only happened twice in 990 starts. 990. That's
Wow,
almost 1,000 starts.
wow,
That said,
that's
I mean,
incredible.
I hate to say, I don't hate to say it. I mean, I'm not a big
No,
NFC East guy, but I think I think I'm riding on the Jaden Daniels train. I'm not gonna lie. Jaden Daniels, one of four. Mark Sanchez, Russell Wilson, and Joe Flacco are the only four to have won a road playoff game. I think that Jaden Daniels is the real deal, man, and I think he's really going to lead the Washington Commanders into the future. How they're going to fare this next game, I'm not quite sure. How do you think? How do you see their future playing out?
I so on a biased term here, I've been rooting against Jaden Daniels for the entire year just for Bo Nix. But, although Bo Nix had a great season, Jaden Daniels has proved that he is the real deal. And I don't think anybody that can deny that.
Yeah,
I'm going to stand by what I've been saying for since the beginning of the season that I think the Lions are one to, if not one of, if not the best teams in the NFL. I really don't think anybody can stop the Lions. I think the Lions are going to win by a margin of I believe this is the highest spread of the weekend. Uh, mm, yes. No, it's actually 5.5 spread. No, I'm right. I was right. 9.5 spread by the Lions. The biggest point margin of the weekend. Lions are projected to win. I think that the Lions are the better team. I got the Lions winning by about 10 points, but I think that shifted a little bit since the Commanders got in. I'm not sure the Bucks. I think it would have been a closer margin if the Bucks had got in. Yeah, that's what I got to say.
no, yeah, I agree to you, or I agree with you in that aspect. I do think it would have been closer if it was the Buccaneers. Um, Unfortunately, it wasn't. I was honestly rooting for the Buccaneers, but seeing Jaden Daniels play, seeing him, like that guy can just adapt. That's the biggest thing is he was adapting the stuff out there. He was rolling out of the pocket. He took some licks. Dude cut open his cheek. I mean, he was still playing like he was Rocky, man. I mean, that was intense. That was sick. And that's the kind of stuff that I miss about like old school, yeah, hard nosed football. That's what I like. That's what I miss. But you just don't really see that anymore. You see all this laundry, you see all these, flags coming out, with some names. I don't know. I don't really know any players in particular that get a lot of flags. Patrick Mahomes. Anyway,
Anyways,
aside from that, yeah, I'm on the Jaden Daniels train. Jaden Daniels, I think that this quarterback class was absolutely amazing. I think in general, what makes me happy seeing a quarterback class is knowing that there's going to be that number one pick that people are always riding high on, and it was Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was an absolute bust. I love to see it because everyone was riding high on him. I love that Daniels is doing good. Bo Nix doing great. Played with a fractured back the entire season. Just found that out. And I'll tell you what, Drake May, he's going to be the future as well. This is just an amazing draft class. I'm looking forward to this next draft class as well to see what we get from that. Um, but yeah, aside from that, Jaden Daniels, I think he's the real deal. He's really going to do it. As far as my quarterback powerhouse, I'm probably going to stay with Josh Allen though. He's consistent. He's got a good team around him. Um, but don't sleep on Jaden Daniels. Remember me saying this? Don't sleep on Jaden Daniels. That guy could tear it up. So
I go ahead.
no, yeah. By all means, go ahead. We still got a little bit of
Uh,
time.
yeah. So to before I let this fall away, when if people are listening, um, I just have to say, Bonix just coming out with the hey, I just played with a fractured back for about 6.5 weeks. Three process fractures that had to be repaired. All the credit in the world to the way that he you can't even say figuratively, literally carried the Broncos on his back. All the shout outs in the world.
No pun
Um,
intended.
no pun
No pun
intended.
intended.
Um, next, what do you want to go? Rams, Eagles, or the Chiefs game? What do you think, Kellen?
So I'm gonna tell you what. Before we get too far into our prediction or game predictions, one thing I do want to talk about. Um, and one thing that's been bothering me, and I know it bothered you, especially we kind of mentioned it a little bit
Yes,
last
sir.
game.
Yes, sir.
These rules. I mean, these penalties really driving the game. I'll tell you what. One thing that's really bugging me right now, and it bugged me last night in particular, was the ruled incompletion that Matt Stafford had. In my opinion, that's a fumble. 99 out of 100 times, I'm ruling that a fumble. Um, his head is down. He's not looking up in any way. And you're going to tell me that that was a throw?
Or forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like what are your thoughts on that?
I think that okay, so like I hate to be a conspiracy guy. I really hate to do this, but it just really does seem like the flags come when it favors the favorite, I would
Right,
guess to say.
right.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And like, no disrespect to the other teams or the fans. The teams who won played hard enough to win, but it just seems like one or two plays really makes the difference in a football game, and it's really disappointing for the other team when that other call goes the other way. But then
yeah.
you have one guy taunting and standing over a player, and then the other player just getting flagged for it. This is something I don't understand, but
Yep.
I'm okay with it. I live with it. You know, I
Mm.
just questionable. I would say just questionable.
No, yeah, and my dad, he always told me, he's like, dude, the ref only sees the retaliation. He'll only see when the other person does something wrong. You can go up to someone and do the most
But
out of pocket thing, and then
the inciting, yeah, the inciting.
exactly, yeah, the inciting. So it only matters what you know how you react, and then I've kind of carried that through life, honestly. Um,
As
but
well as I have.
like at the same time, there's got to be a sense of fairness and equality when it comes to these games, and for a fact, I know that there are some teams and some players, Patrick Mahomes, that just get these calls, and it
It's
bugs
gonna
me. It
happen
drives
no
me
matter
crazy.
what.
It's gonna happen no matter what. Exactly, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Home field advantage. When I'm talking about playing in an environment where you have not just the fans, but you have the overall environment going against you. You have the vibe, you have the energy that's pushing the narrative that you're not going to win the game. If the Browns go into Kansas City, there's a narrative you're not going to win the game. End of the day, you know. Now, if the Ravens go into Kansas City, it's like, okay, hey, you know what? We're probably gonna have a banger. But what, like, you know that there's gonna be some sort of referee interference or, you know, influence of the game. What do you think about that?
It just feels like it feels even worse when it's the playoffs. You know,
Mm,
it happens during the season and stuff like that. But like when a team is completely relying on like having a fair game, and then just you get the one call taunting, not gonna say, but gonna say, just during the playoffs, it just feels all the more like worthy than any other, you know, holding call or PI. Just the certain things just really make a difference when it
right,
comes to
right.
the referees. But I think everybody knows that. I don't know if you ever saw the old Kobe Bryant documentary on Netflix where a referee got called out for being biased because he was betting on the games. It's still real, even though people don't really see it live or see it, reactively. They can have other people playing on it, but I'm not salty. I'm glad that my Broncos made it this far, but I still think that there is a way that they say, "Hey, make sure you call PI for the Chiefs,"
I'm
telling the
salty.
refs.
I'm always salty when it comes to plays. I'm always salty, dude. And I'll tell you what, there's one thing that I will stand by, and I will stand by it until the day I die. It's three words, dude. Dez caught it. Dez caught it. You
He
gotta
did,
admit,
he
Dez caught
did,
that
and
ball,
he did.
and
How
he
do how
broke
do
the
you take
plane.
two steps with a
Yep,
Yeah. Okay,
Dez
so
caught
let's
that
go
ball.
on to the next little topic. Chiefs Texans, CJ Stroud going up against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are sitting on 3.5 weeks of rest, but the CJ Stroud train is kind of getting a little bit of momentum. Do you think that Andy Reid is able to really take over as just showing that he's like completely, it doesn't matter if I have 3 weeks off. It doesn't matter if I have three starters sitting, or is CJ Stroud and the Texans kind of going to start rolling?
You know, I want I want the Texans to win. I do, and but if I'm putting money on it, I'd have to put it on Kansas City. Reason being, they're in Kansas City.
Seven
Um,
and a half, seven and a half spread for the Chiefs at 42 over and under. Just to put it out
I
there
was
for
gonna
everybody.
say I felt like the spread would be a little bit higher, um, for that one, but I guess that does make sense. I'm not going to credit Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs' success. Reason being is Patrick Mahomes didn't have as great of a season as people are going to say that he did. People are going to think, oh, he made it to the playoffs. They're going to the playoffs. Da 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 da. So since they're in the playoffs, he must be doing great. He must be an MVP. Da 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 da. I'm not buying it. Obviously, he didn't make the Pro Bowl.
The defense really, like, if you look at the
Yep.
stats compared to a lot of other players, the Patrick Mahomes was like barely top 10 in most stats. The Chiefs
Right.
defense really carried them and closed out a lot of games.
No, and they did, and you know,
Steve Spagnuolo.
yeah, Steve Spagnuolo, like that, and I'll tell you what, he's got head coach potential. I mean, he really could. Um, I mean, that's a whole different subject. I'll tell you what, my head is spinning around
Absolutely.
with that. Gosh, I can't even imagine. But no, like I, CJ Stroud, he's a good quarterback. He's not great. Um, Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, he's an okayer quarterback. Um, Now, like I said, they're in Kansas City. You're going to have that environment. Um, in my opinion, the Texans have already lost this game. I hate to say it, they've already lost it.
Yeah,
What about you?
I hate to hear it. I hate to hear it. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I also believe that the Chiefs are just ah
Like, I'm not going to say they're going to get
The Chiefs are the
steamrolled, but
Chiefs.
they're going to,
I
yeah,
don't.
they're going to need help. They
It's hard
really
to
are.
say. It's hard to say, but the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they've shown why they're the Chiefs for the past few years. I really have all my cards in the Chiefs not three-peating. Like
Oh
that
my
would be my worst
goodness.
nightmare.
No,
That
I
would be my
couldn't.
worst
I couldn't
nightmare.
do it. Yeah, I really couldn't. But and like I compare it to Chick Hicks in Cars when Chick Hicks wins the Piston Cup and they're all standing there. He's like, oh, woo, I win. Where's the confetti? Everyone's like,
Chachiga,
Kachiga,
Chachiga.
Kachiga. No, I know. Like that's what I'm imagining for a Chiefs 3P. I'm imagining people up there, and the Chiefs are winning. They're handing the trophy. They're handing the Lombardi around. Taylor Swift is there. Da 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 da, and everyone is just like, whatever. What's on 60 Minutes? I always say that when they start talking about what's on 60 Minutes, that means, hey guys, guess what? I don't care what's on TV right now. I'm already looking forward to what I'm going to watch after this game. So that's what I'm looking for. So Kachiga, Kachiga, if they win, I'm gonna be saying that Kachiga, Kachiga. But
That's a how do you say? That's an easy, good short right there to get some entertainment to our followers.
oh,
What do you
Kachiga.
what do you think, Kellen? You want to do the spreads and picks real quick, or you have any other topics we want to talk about?
Oh, you know what? Real quick, I do want to mention something that Bill Belichick said last night. He was on the Peyton and Eli cast. They were talking about incomplete passes. Bill Belichick actually said that this is an offense-heavy league, saying or telling Eli Manning and Peyton Manning that they should coach defense because they know offense best. That said, John Gruden went on record saying all they need to do is any good quarterback, which is crazy. Any good quarterback just needs to underthrow a ball to get a pass interference penalty. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I've so you know 2 years ago, was it 2 or 3 years ago? They put the rule out where you can challenge PI, and then they took it away. But I haven't really had a lot of complaints about it during the season. But man, the last three, what is it? No, three playoff games, five playoff games. What? How many? Six playoff games. Man, I really have a lot of pass interference complaints. Um, it just feels like usually the offensive player gets the call, but also it seems like for some reason in the red zone, the refs are just letting these defensive players just get away with stuff, and that I didn't think they would let them get away with. Just
Right,
in
right.
terms of something that we're used to. Um, I don't like. I love defense. I used to play defense. I think that um, it should be fair to both sides, but also like I've seen like them like dragging them down and tearing them out of the end zone, and nothing's really being called. I'm not sure how to. I'm not a ref. I'm not sure how it should be called, but what I do think is that the referees are doing what the NFL is telling them to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll definitely concur 1,000% with that. That you know, I mean, at the same time, I do almost sympathize for the refs because we want games where there's not a ton of laundry on the field, but at the same time, we want you to call the game fair. So when you got a guy who's going to rip Sam Darnold's head off in the end zone and literally holds his head afterwards because he realizes that he just committed an end zone penalty, and you don't call that, then I'm going to be pissed. But when you call, roughing the passer for someone who sneezed next to Patrick Mahomes too hard, then I'm going to be really pissed because you know how much I love Patrick Mahomes. But aside from that, let's go ahead. Let's move on. Let's go to your hot take. So go on. Carry on what you were going to say.
Okay, yeah. So let's finish this off if you think we should. Spreads, over unders, games. Um, we got let's what do you want to start with? Lions, Ravens, Rams, Bills. Your choice.
You know what? Let's start with the Rams. Well, let me hear
Okay.
your take first. I'll base it off of it. I'm a little bit
Okay.
hesitant after last night when I kind of biffed that score. I apologize for that one,
No,
Vikings
man.
fans. But
I
yeah,
thought
let's go ahead and check
you
it.
got the Broncos Bills game absolutely perfect. You know, the Broncos played better than the score showed, but
Yeah,
the Bills ran away with it at the end. So we got Rams Eagles 2 p.m. Eastern Saturday -6 Eagles -6 spread 43.5 over under. I think that the Eagles are the better team. I've been repeating over and over. I'm a big Matthew Stafford guy. I really think that him and Sean McVay and the offense that they have tons of potential still, even though they've had their mishaps ever since Aaron Donald left. But they fought their way back here. The Eagles are just a well-rounded roster completely. You got Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown. You got a good Mason defense, offensive line. I think that the 43.5 over under with a -6, I think that we'll hit the over on that. I think that the -6 I am questionable on. I do have the Eagles winning probably about that exact spread, 5 or 6 points.
yeah, yeah. No, but I think for that one, I'm gonna take. And here we go again. Well, of course, I'm wearing green when I'm saying this too. I'm gonna take the Eagles. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Um, I'll take the Eagles on this spread. I think it's going to be a little greater than that. Now, as far as the over under, I'm going to take the over. You said it was 40. What was it?
43.5. I'm going to take the over as well.
I'm going to take the over on it. Reason being
Yes.
is, I mean, they don't have that great of defenses. I'll tell you that. Actually, what, contrary, I would consider. I mean, Aaron Donald and the Rams. I mean, 6 sacks against Sam Darnold. That was that was crazy. I don't know if that was great on them or bad on
No,
the
not
Vikings, but
Not Aaron Donald.
not Aaron
Not Aaron
Donald. But I
Donald.
mean,
Aaron
the
Donald's probably
defense.
retired.
No,
Yeah, the
but
defense in general.
yeah, Aaron Donald. But anyway, yeah, like that was that was an amazing performance. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take the over on that. Reason being is both of these teams are high scoring teams. You got two great receivers in Cooper Cup and Puka. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts. He has A.J. Brown. If he could start utilizing him when he starts finding him, they could start connecting, and it's good. Saquon Barkley, he's always a powerhouse. When you start feeding him, he gets it, and he gets it going good. So I'm going to take the Eagles on that, hitting the over.
I, I I think it's really hard to say any of the teams in this divisional round are not powerhouses. All of them deserve to be here. Um,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
so Ravens, Bills. Um, so this is the game that, like I said, I'm most interested in. 51.5, the second highest over under of the weekend, 6:30 Saturday. -1.5. Yesterday it was -1. I feel like this is a pick'em game. I feel like it doesn't really matter who you choose. Somebody's going to come out. Like I said, -1.5. I got the Bills coming out, but I don't know how anybody can really pick against Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Like, that's really hard to do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to go ahead picking the Bills on this one. Um, as far as that over 50, ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with. I think
Oh,
I'm going
and
to go
by the
with
way,
the over.
I'm taking the under.
You're
I'm taking
taking
the
the
under.
under.
Yes,
You're
sir.
taking the under. All right.
Yes, sir.
If you're taking the under, I'm gonna go with the over then.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to do it. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be as close as near the end. I think it'll be close during the game. Near the end, though, I think that there's going to be a definitive winner. That's a lot. That's how you see these Ravens and Bills games kind of turn out. Even when it's going the opposite way, even when the Bills lose, even when the Ravens lose, sometimes they almost panic and they just press that panic button so much to where the other team scores enough points to where it just ends up screwing them over. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills in that one over the Ravens, taking the over. Yeah, that's my pick for it.
Okay, so we got Chiefs, Texans, -7.5 on the Texans, on the Chiefs side, excuse me. Chiefs are favored by -7.5 with a 42 over under. 2:30 Eastern on Sunday. Is that right? On Sunday. Um, Did we already do this one, Kellen? I'm sorry. I'm
I don't think we did. No, we can do it
okay.
again.
Okay.
We haven't talked
So
about the spread and everything like
real,
that, but
real,
let's go
real
ahead and break
quick.
it
Yeah,
down.
I don't think we talked about the spread and the over under. The real quick over under 42 and a half, 7.5 for the Chiefs. Um, man, I really think that the Chiefs are just they're the Chiefs. Everybody knows that. I think the Texans have just what I would say about how the Broncos played the Bills this last weekend, just a puncher's chance.
Yeah,
You got it right, you got an uppercut, but everybody knows who the Texans are. I got the Chiefs covering the spread, 7.5, 42 over under. I think that the 42 over under is going to be just about right there. What do you got to say, man?
yeah. I think the Chiefs are going to cover that spread, like you said. I'm going to go with under on that, though. I'm going to take reason why I'm taking the under. I think that the Chiefs are going to get out to an early lead. Um, we know how they can be, and almost when they start early, if they can start early and keep that lead, then they'll be good. Um, however, looking at it now, as far as that spread goes, I might actually have to change my pick on that matter. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot closer um,
Yeah.
than you think. I
Wow.
really do.
Cool.
Most of their
Okay.
games have been within 3 points, so
And the
I think
Chiefs
it's going to be
really
close.
haven't ran away with many games this year.
Exactly.
It tends to always come down to the very end.
Exactly.
Washington versus the Lions, 9.5 spread. The biggest spread of the weekend. Uh, Lions favored, obviously. And the biggest over under of the weekend, 55.5. You
What?
know, everybody,
Wow.
you,
Okay.
you know, everybody is betting on the Lions. I would have my money on the Lions. I would have my money on the spread, but I'm not sure, man. I think that the Lions 9.5 is a lot of points, man. But do we think that Washington can cover a 9.5 spread? I don't know. I got my money on the Bills. I'm sorry, on the Lions. But man, both of those numbers for the 9.5 spread and the 55 over under, I wouldn't put my money on those. I would go money line Lions, and I think that's all I would go.
Yeah, win like 30 cents. I think that
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
tell you what. Like I think last I checked, money line is uh, Washington plus 500 dogs. But like I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take the under on that. I don't like. I know the Lions are gonna win. I hundred
That's a
percent.
lot of points. A lot of points.
It's a lot of points, and I don't see Washington putting up those kinds of numbers. If they didn't put up, I mean, they put up what 23 points against the 23 points against the what's it called, Buccaneers.
Yes,
Or yeah,
yes.
they put up 23 points against the Buccaneers. If they did that, I mean, considering that, and they didn't, you know, since they did that, and they, I don't see them putting up higher numbers against the Lions. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, take the Lions there, under the spread, or and take the under. But
One last thing, Kellen. Just to say, what was your favorite moment of this wild card super weekend, whatever you call it?
um, this is gonna sound, it's gonna sound weird, but I'll tell you what, it happened in the same game. It was Jaden Daniels getting up from that hit, from getting lit up on the sideline, getting that cut on his
Dog,
face. But oh
dog.
my goodness, the ending of Zane Gonzalez wiping his head like crazy, me texting you saying, "How come I feel like he's gonna miss?" The moment I send that text, he doinks it right off the upright, but it happens to go in. That is what you call Disney magic, dude. So I'll tell you what, like that
So you
game was
know what?
probably my
I'm gonna
favorite
just have
one.
to agree
So
with you because after watching Denver try to go into the half with the tied score, doink it off the top, to lose and then end up that was very significant in terms of like the game. I'm not sure how much people realize how significant that was, and then just to see the Redskins do it the opposite way and win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
Yep.
agree. Double doinks, double doinks.
Double doinks. Yep. No, I agree. All right, dude. I mean, like, yeah, I think we covered everything. Danny, appreciate you talking to me today. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in. For those of you who did, thanks for watching. You guys are great. Keep on tuning in. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. We're going to do weekly shorts, daily shorts, and post as many videos as we can. Tune into this week's divisional games. There are going to be some bangers, and we're going to review them. So,
We
y'all
think
have a
we know
good one.
football.
We think we
think
know
we know football.
football.
Shout out to LA and the tragedies.
Shout out to LA and the tragedies. We love you guys. You guys stay safe. God bless.